to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Yeah, it was really rough, but it was a good day, and like we sold a couple decent things. It's fun working there, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had a good day.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, I actually had the day off, so I did
Hey!
finished up all my Christmas shopping, all my wrapping, and did some laundry.
Nice.
And now I am here to do a podcast. So very, very productive day.
Yeah, and I mean, this is our week drop, and let me just go ahead and say that this is the only one we're doing this week. We're going to take, the weekend off for the holiday, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday as well out there.
So are we just doing a show in a week on the 27th?
Yeah, we'll just do a show next Tuesday.
Okay, because I can't do next Saturday either. I will be in New Jersey again. So.
Oh my gosh, because we were okay, we're gonna preview this. That we eventually, now that things are actually coming to light, we're gonna do a big Hockey Canada episode soon.
Yes, I think we should do it on Tuesday.
You want to do it Tuesday? Okay.
Like a week is enough for me to put energy into getting everything together, and I'm sure we're gonna learn more in the next week too.
Yeah, we'll probably learn like actual names and stuff.
Yeah,
but we have we got Kepi's to read and an ad read to get through, so let's do it right to dang now.
All righty.
So yeah, we're here in the hockey season and the Christmas season and everything else. And starting in the new year for our Ohio friends, if you download the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you will be able to start.
Mm-hmm.
You put $5 pregame money line on any NHL team to win, and you get $150 in free bets if they do. So if you want to bet on, for those of you that can, on the 29th, let's say, for Columbus versus New York Islanders, which I will be doing a watch-along stream for on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. So you should go subscribe and notify and come join me and hang out.
You poor thing.
I am gonna miss you that night. Like,
yeah.
I would love to do that with you. It'd be fun to do that
the
together.
Chances of them winning, though, increase with me not being on that broadcast.
But yeah, $150 in free bets, and you can bet on, like a certain guy to score. You can bet on how many saves. Typical, like those are typically your kinds of money lines, right?
Yes,
for
like
hockey
specifically,
games.
One thing that was trending on Twitter today was about how Rasmus Ristolainen this season has 0 points. And the first thing I thought when I saw that was, oh no, he is getting a point tonight.
Right, exactly. Because as of recording this, we're in the process of playing the Flyers. Fun stuff. We'll get to some Flyers shenanigans in a minute. But you can bet on Rasmus getting a point tonight and combine that with...
would pay out a lot of money. Let's be very clear. That would pay out a lot of money.
You could bet on a guy like, I don't know, Josh Dunn getting a point tonight, which would pay out a lot of money. And if you bet on both at the same time with a same game parlay, you can get an even bigger payout.
If you bet on a Josh Dunn point and a Rasmus Ristolainen point, that's got to be like the dude who put a shitload of money on the Blues to win the cup when they were in last place.
Well, it's like producer Drew putting $5 on Trevor Moore like a couple of years ago.
Than
right?
that. A little bit.
I mean, because Trevor was coming into his own. So anyway, yeah, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code THPN. I'm sorry. Please, yes, use the promo code THPN. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code THPN. Helps us, helps the network. And hey, come hang out with me on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel on the 29th. Figured I'd throw that back out there. So I'm trying to think. Did you go first last time?
Does it matter?
Does it really matter? I don't know.
Does it matter? It's going to Tarasov.
You're giving it to Tara?
Yes.
Okay, so you're giving it to Tarasov.
And I'm going to imagine that you are too.
Actually, you want to know what? I'm going to give it to number 91. I'm going to give it to Kent Johnson. So give your reasoning for Tara. I know it's obvious, but go ahead.
He gave you more than good enough a chance to win last night. He was fantastic. And for the first, I would say, 45 minutes of the game in Boston, he gave you a chance to win. Things fell apart in the third period, but he was good in both games.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough when you get like snowballed in a third period against a fantastic team like the Boston Bruins. But
you still no goal support. Like we never do. We always let this guy down. Always.
The only time that we really haven't was in New York.
That's it, yeah.
That's the only time he's actually gotten like goal support in something that wasn't a tire fire.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
At least because they beat the Panthers when you went and he was in net, and they scored I think 5 goals in that game.
That was a 5-3 win, yeah.
But as you mentioned, it's like it's not like they were out there playing well in front of him and gave him. No, they got outshot by a ton, and they just
50 shots, dude. How we keep coming back to that game for
I think 51 to probably somewhere in the 20s for us. They almost had double like shots.
And it was double shot attempts at the very least.
So like they always let him down.
It's just ridiculous.
I'm getting sick of it, but he's playing well, and I'm happy that he's playing well. I'm cautiously excited about him.
Yes. I am giving my kudos and Kepi to Kent Johnson because this guy, it's unfortunate circumstances, but this guy is finally playing first line minutes at center.
Mm-hmm.
For a guy that's only 19 years old to step on a line with Gus Nyquist and Johnny Gaudreau right now.
Well, they put him with Gaudreau and Laine.
That was the other day.
No, that was the Dallas game.
That was Dallas? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then tonight it's with Gus, I think.
Okay, so they're switching things up?
Yeah, they're switching Patty and Gus again. But yeah, that's why KJ91 is getting mine.
Yeah.
And that is a very quick Kepi Keeper. That was probably our quickest Kepi of the season so far.
Probably.
I think.
Probably. my level of energy. It's not that it's like super low.
No.
It's that it has shifted. And I've said this before, kind of like jokingly. I mean this sincerely to any Blue Jackets fan. Mark posted a very good question.
Mark Shake, yes,
on Twitter the other day. How are you getting through the season? Like what are you doing to get through the season?
Are you legitimately asking me?
That was the question he posed. And
yeah, if you're asking me, I can answer.
You can answer, and then I will give you my answer, okay?
My answer is, at least kind of fortunately, I haven't been able to watch games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with just my being scheduled during game days.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's just being unable to actually watch until highlights drop.
Yeah. So I have an answer. And I think it's a fair answer, okay?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter to me whether you're in Cleveland, Columbus, or Cincinnati, or anywhere in between, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you have Bally Sports, they're the ones who...
Yes, that's the regional broadcaster.
Watch the Cavs. There's a reason I'm wearing my Cavs hoodie.
I've got the Jackets garb on, and this guy is, yeah.
Do you know what I have done since Friday?
Nothing but Cavs. That's been most of your Twitter
I
timeline.
went to the Cavs game on Friday against the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the game Saturday against the Mavericks. And then I went to the game last night against the Jazz. Now, not everybody's going to have that availability. That's why I mentioned whether you're in Cleveland, Columbus, or Cincinnati. But if you have the availability, whether it's to go to the game or just watch it, even if you're not into basketball, get into it. I'm telling you, they are worthwhile. And, I know the Bengals are really good, but that's only once a week.
Joey B, baby.
Yes, the top two teams that are currently in season in the state of Ohio are the Bengals and the Cavs. Pay attention to them. I know that there's some Browns fans, so obviously you're going to be left out of that. But if you're a Browns fan, you're probably also a Cavs fan, so that ties in.
So there you go. You have that option too. You say tomato, I say Zader Mater Morts, and so you have options.
Options are very important at a time like this.
Yeah, especially because it's getting colder and people don't want to leave the house.
Oh God, no! As much fun as it was going to the last 3 games, like the walk, it's not even like a super long walk,
right?
It's so freaking cold outside. But you know what? I am willing to endure that. You want to know why? Because the last 3 games I've gone to in these 4 days were all wins because the team is good. Whereas if you're in Columbus, the walk from the one parking garage to Nationwide,
which one?
It's like the one by the arch.
Because because like my dad and I, we go to this little lot that's just like out. It's not like an actual garage. It's just a lot. Around like Vine Street.
Yeah.
And that's where we end up parking most of the time. And it's not too bad of a walk. It's like right around the corner from where where our bar is.
Right. So not too bad of a walk, but it's still a bitch, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's cold.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to do that walk if the team stinks. Right now, Jake.
It stinks.
They reek.
Tastes like doa doa. And well, I mean, the Boston game is the Boston game. Pretty run-of-the-mill expected, even though they were in it for a bit. And then Boston did Boston things. Right?
Yeah. That one's like the one I'm less upset about because like it's not that Boston's a good team. It's that Boston is doing this to literally everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like forget about oh, I don't expect to win today. Like no, like I didn't really pay much attention because I was like, I don't even think this is worth paying attention to. Like, I don't even know if this is worth getting upset about if they lose.
They did it to Vegas, and Vegas is just as hot.
Yeah, like, they're incredible. So, I don't know if we had to spend too much time on Boston because they're so damn good. Johnny had a multi-point game, right?
Johnny and Patty.
So
the dynamic duo was at it again.
There's your positive, and all things considered, I thought Tarasev played pretty well in that game. So, right, that is what it is.
And then the Dallas game, you got
that's the one that just
that one's like
I don't care that they're good. I don't care how good Dallas is. They're not as good as Boston. They're still very good, but let me tell you, man.
Well, let's shout out our Dallas people for a minute, because we don't get to talk about a lot of Western Conference teams often, right?
Right.
Jake Ottinger, except for the Coyotes and Canucks, right? So Jake Ottinger is a freaking mammoth. My God. He is a mammoth. He is a monster. I love him.
Well, we talked about, I said like they got a new big four, and it doesn't include Tyler Seguin or Jamie Benn. You've got Jake Ottinger, you've got Miro Heiskanen, you got Rope Hintz, and then you got Jason Robertson.
And Jason Robertson scored 24 goals already, dude.
Dude, he's freaking unbelievable.
Unreal. And Wyatt Johnston is a really great young player.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Really,
he looked awesome with him and KJ were probably the two biggest standouts at Traverse City, were they not?
Probably, yeah. Ty Dellandrea is also a very interesting young player for them. Niels Lundqvist is a very, very
Niels Lundqvist
young
was
player.
such a huge underrated acquisition.
Yeah, he was. And just some of their other core pieces that have been there for a while that make an impact, like Esa Lindell is a fantastic shutdown guy.
Yeah, and he's a good third pairing guy now. Especially
they also have Ryan Suter.
You're paying Ryan Suter, Eric Goodbranson type money.
You're still getting better than Eric Goodbranson results. But Dallas, I liked it. Joe Pavelski. Yeah. We didn't even mention Joe Pavelski.
Just ageless wonder Joe Pavelski, right?
Just continues to.
And this is after like Klingberg leaves and Radulov leaves.
They're a team that's interestingly, they just don't miss a beat in net. And that's just like, you think about the transition, like, he wasn't like a fantastic goalie, but they had Kari Lehtinen for a while. And then
I loved Kari Lehtinen.
Then you move on to Ben Bishop, who's really good.
He was great for you. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Bishop gets hurt, and you never know if he's going to play again. And Anton Hudobin steps up and takes you to the final.
Yeah.
And now Hudobin's done. It's official that Bishop's done, and in comes Jake Ottinger.
Here comes Otter, and he is just lights out.
Dallas, that's like the one stable thing that Dallas has kind of had for the last decade is they've been pretty damn consistent in that.
Yeah. I mean, they had Antti Niemi for a while, right?
He wasn't as good as I think they were hoping he would be, but he still provided stability behind Lehtinen.
Yeah.
For a little bit there. So, like he's definitely included.
And think about their history, too. Like Marty Turco. And
Marty Turco was there for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dallas has a really, really good goaltending history.
Yeah.
And Jake's going to continue that on. But
no doubt about it. So Dallas is a good team. They deserve their flowers. No doubt about it. But I can't tell you how funny it was, like checking on the score and having it be like 1-0 with like 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And then getting in the car to drive home from the Cavs game.
And then it's bang, bang.
And I see final 2-1. And I was like, oh, they got a point out of it. Like they pushed it to overtime, and then I check,
and then it said, "Well, that's the thing is if it's on the NHL app, it'll say /OT or /SO, right? So it'll.
I'm looking on Yahoo, so it didn't tell me.
Okay.
I just assumed, and then I check, and I'm like,
"Oh,
you gotta be kidding me! That the game-winning goal was an empty netter."
I just think like. I don't know. Because we've already talked about how much Brad Larson is just, we're done with him.
Yeah, we're done here.
The deployment, I can't belabor this point enough. The deployment of certain guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just, what is your thought process, Brad? What are you doing? If you come out and like you addressed this last show, if you come out and say that Marchenko and Sillinger and Johnson is one of your best lines,
your ass better be playing them.
Yeah. That's up to you to play them more.
Literally. You are not in control of your general manager giving Eric Goodbranson a 4x4. You are very responsible for how much you play him.
Exactly.
That is quite literally the one thing you can control.
I know he's getting paid like a certain type of defenseman. Play him like
the type of defenseman. You have to play him like that, right? Yes. That is like the one thing, like we talk about, like, oh, you're paying Goodbranson like a second pair. You don't have to play him that way, though.
I'm sorry, folks, for those of you watching. Like, I've had really bad, like, itchy neck for I don't know what's going on with me.
Get some lotion on it, man.
That maybe.
Dry skin.
It's just
dry skin season, really, man. My elbows, man, they crack like crazy. Anyway,
it's ridiculous. So the biggest thing to take away from this too, outside of just like, they play well against Boston and crumble. That's whatever it is. It's
a 2-0 loss to Boston is playing well for this organization, by the way.
Yeah. And then the close game, at least Dallas was a close game too. Like we haven't gotten a lot of those this year. Yeah. Like, so it's like, it's nice to see a close one for once.
I gotta be real. I would have much rather they lost that game 2-0. I really would have much rather they just lost that game 2-0 than score that goal with 15 seconds left.
Don't give me hope.
I'm like, you get like, it's not even like a hope thing. It's like, you didn't score until after they got an empty netter to make it 2-0.
It's like, oh, there he is.
It's like, ooh, didn't get shut out tonight. Jake, what are we back to right now? 1.
Yeah,
that's what we're back to. 1. 2 things in common. The Blue Jackets scored 1 goal, and also Daniil Tarasov only gave up 1 goal.
So the other thing I want to talk about with this is just we're getting really bit by the injury bug again.
Oh,
I thought we were done. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
so like, so first of all, I want to give a shout out to Jeremy and Laura because they just released episode 150 of Subjectively Speaking.
Oh my God.
So kudos to Jeremy and Laura on that.
Those poor people.
We love you guys. Believe us.
We do. And that's why I feel bad.
Oh, but they just put out episode 150. You guys can go check that out on THPN, wherever you subscribe to that. But they didn't catch that Yegor Chinnikov is our latest injury. Yegor's on the injured reserve. Boone Jenner's on the injured reserve. And that's why KJ's playing first line minutes, because Boone's out. And
there is a certain band that I think that you like, that one of their songs kind of encapsulates how I feel right now. Wake me up when September ends.
Oh,
because I just want to be woken up when next October rolls around. I don't want to have to deal with this shit for the rest of the year.
I do like me some Green Day.
Love Green Day. That's how I feel. I'm like, oh my God, like we're not even halfway. We're not even officially at the halfway point of this season.
No,
I am cooked.
God, man,
I am as cooked as a hockey puck right now, man.
That's pretty cooked.
Yeah.
That's cooked and frozen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just see, like, so Boqvist is coming back soon. He's not officially activated yet, but like he's been practicing. So at least they're gonna get somebody back, right?
Yeah.
But let's just see what this, like, I wish they actually had like an injury report on here. Chinnikov, Danforth, Jenner is out. Voracek out. So that's 4 forwards right there. And 4 very reliable forwards.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I kind of forgot about Justin Danforth.
I know, because his was so early on, right?
Yeah. Changed the whole outlook of the season.
And it's just Boone getting hurt again. This poor guy.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for him. And this time I think it was what? It was like a broken thumb. Ugh. For Boone.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, I think you're right. I think they said he's going to be out like, what, 3-4 weeks because he got surgery on it.
Something like that. Yeah. And then on defense, you got Bean, you got Z, you got Boki until he comes back soon, and Blankenberg. Blanks is going to be fine. Right? Yeah. So it's just like, I don't even, dude, my eyes just glazed over. And then tonight, because I think, so Corpy's still out hurt for a little bit. And
sick.
Elvis is sick tonight. So the tandem in net tonight as we're recording this against Philadelphia, is Daniil Tarasov and Jet Greaves.
Yeah.
It's just, when is this gonna, like, I don't know. I'm gonna have
another fun discussion when we talk about firing people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The training staff,
like certain athletic trainers, like medical trainers.
I don't know enough about the training staff to be like, it's this person.
Like who breaks down where? Yeah.
It's every year that this team is in like the top 10 or top 5 with injuries, isn't it? Like, every team
in terms of man
injuries.
Games lost, yeah.
Every team goes through injuries, but like it always seems like we have an absurd amount of them.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Didn't we lead in man Games lost at like 15-16 when it was just abysmal?
Yes. Well, no, it was 14-15.
Oh, okay.
It was the year before we started off 0-8.
Got it.
And that's why we missed the playoffs that year.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could have made it, but like it. And then it was 1920 when we made the playoffs because of the COVID.
Yes,
twist.
the play-in twist, and yes.
But like, remember, like that season was so. I keep like referring to that season. You brought in Liam Foodie because you had to recall him on an emergency basis because you didn't have enough forwards because you had so many injuries.
Well, that, and you got to remember too, because it was an expanded playoff, we were a 9 seed.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have made it otherwise.
Well, also like we were lucky not only because of them expanding the playoffs, but because of the pause.
Mm-hmm.
All of our players came back.
Yeah, exactly.
So like we were one of the freshest and healthiest teams heading into the bubble because all these injuries we suffered were
long-term enough that the timelines lined up.
The time, yeah. So like when we went into the bubble, like we had all these injuries throughout the season, but we had both of our goalies, and then we had Werenski, Jones, Gavrikov, Savard.
All the top 4.
Ryan Murray on the third pair.
Oh my god.
And I think we had Nudavara too.
We did have Nudie. Oh man.
So like that was our defense.
I'm happy Nudavara's doing well. Like he's been a solid like 7-8 guy in San Jose.
So we could use him right now.
We could use him right now. You're right. We could definitely use him over Seattle legend Gavin Bayreuther. But yeah, it's so hard with the injury bug to just be like, okay.
Here's the thing,
like I'm just resigning myself to whatever like they try to throw to stick at the wall, right?
Right, like, and this is like the thing with like the injuries. Like I always come back to like, well, you were no good when these players were healthy, but it's not that we're losing games because of these injuries. We know that, but the frustrating part of the injuries is it takes more life out of you as a fan because
yes,
you have less and less to look forward to,
and you're missing favorite players.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing guys that you really want to root for.
Well, and a lot of these guys are young guys that you're hoping that are going to improve. Like,
be a core part of your team. Yeah.
Like for the last 40 days, you've missed Nick Blankenberg.
He has been a
huge.
Yeah.
You're going to be missing
Jake Bean and Yegor Chinnikov.
This is a lot of time that you could be getting from Yegor to improve his game. And we've seen what the improvements that he's made so far, and they've been positive.
Yes.
And I'm happy about him, but there's still a long way to go with this player.
Man. One last thing I want to say about like actual deployment of guys.
Yeah.
Coming back to Lars for a minute. Put Cole on line 2. If you're going to do anything with Cole Sillinger and you want to like prove that he's going to be a future piece of this.
Yeah.
Put him on line 2 right now.
Honestly, like
if he's gonna, if you think he looks good, put him up on the second line. Play him more. Like we talk about like taking the lines and like how much you use them as one unit and they play more. Like
Yes.
what happened with the fourth line for a while, right? And what's still happening with the fourth line. Why not just elevate Cole and bump Jack down or something?
Right.
Like, if anything,
Yeah.
something like that. Just shake it up just enough.
So here's my, and this is what I would
shake the tree
say.
Just a bit.
Okay. If I'm constructing this lineup, I'm not putting Ken Johnson on the first line, and it's not that I didn't like how he looked.
He's not ready.
It's not even that he's not ready. It's put Jack with Line and Gaudreau. Try that out and keep the kids together.
Yeah, because the kids are amazing.
Put KJ with Cole and Marchenko. It's that simple.
And make them line 2.
Your fourth line is currently your third line. They bumped them up. And now your fourth line is Liam Foudy, Josh Dunn, and Carson Meyer.
And don't get me wrong, I like those guys. I like those players.
Respect to them, Jake, but I mean, these are all guys you hope that you're going to plug into the lineup probably less than 10 games a year.
Yeah.
Individually. They are all put together on one line. And it doesn't matter that they're only going to play, 7, 8, 9 minutes. They're still going to be out there. And
just run the horses. Just
like, what is your hope from them? What is your ask? Your ask is just going to be, just keep the game neutral when you're out there. We don't care if you don't create, just don't give up anything.
Play keep away. If you have it for long enough, play keep away, that kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Man, it hurts to see this team hurt, right?
Hey, this lineup is like, just my eyes. Oh man, like I'm not trying to be mean. It's just my eyes are burning looking at this.
It's just like, why? I don't know. What do I even say about it anymore? How do I throw it out the wall, see what sticks, play the kids, keep 13 and 29. Like, if you got to shift them back and forth until they figure it out.
And we've talked about, like, they don't need to play together.
No.
But with Boone out, they almost do need to play together because now you're shifting center. Yeah. And you don't have that chemistry where you put Nyquist with them. So, like...
Right. Like Johnny has chemistry with Gus, but it's not the same without Boone Jenner. Right?
Yeah. So is Cole not in the lineup tonight?
No, he was projected to be in the lineup tonight.
Projected lines 8 hours ago from the Blue Jackets said Gaudreau, Johnson, Line, Marchenko, Roslovic, Nyquist.
Rosie Nyquist. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, it was Corrali and then Dunner. So I guess Cole is scratched tonight.
You know what it is? I think I saw earlier he has a lower body injury.
Oh, dear God.
So
chalk that up as another one. Ugh. Why does this always happen to us? Why does this always happen to this team? Where they're tops in injuries. How does that help anything?
I don't know what you have to do or who you can find. You got to find someone who's going to find a way to keep these players healthy.
It's just like, what? I know teams go through adversity every year. That's the kind of sport that this is.
Yep.
This isn't adversity. This is just asinine. Right? It's borderline asinine.
It's not, adversity is there for you to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like I guess this could be viewed as it for the players, but really what this is just another roadblock and hindrance for a fan base that is just reeling right now.
And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Though I will say, one really, really fun thing with Boone out, since he's the captain, right, is you play 3 alternates, right?
Right.
Johnny Gaudreau was wearing an A. Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good on number 13.
And I hate to go like all sad mode on everybody, but it's like it should tell you how like
you've been sad mode for 3 weeks.
How jaded I am about this team right now. That
you've been sad mode for
like
something
I should care about, and I'm just sitting here like, cool. You know what I mean? Like that's how down I am on this team. Like that is really freaking cool that he's got the A on, and it's gonna be cool to see it in the future. And I am happy about it, but at the same time, in this moment, I'm literally just sitting here and I couldn't care less, you know? And that's
right. And I mean, I understand
the feeling that they've given me. They suck the life out of me. Right now, they're like.
I'm sorry. I keep staring at my notes. I'm sorry. I keep staring at my notes and I keep reading that the one that we're recording today is episode 86. So I just keep thinking of Marchenko.
Right.
But yeah, the injury bug is biting again hard, and like this is just it's getting ridiculous at this point.
Yeah.
It's getting like legitimately ridiculous. A little bit of stuff on the Flyers just to get us out of here and into the next thing. 2 quick ones is I guess Tony D isn't working out too hot. And I know that's been like old news.
Yeah, Kevin Hayes isn't either.
Well, Kevin, I think, got hurt, right?
No, he was healthy scratch.
No, he was scratched again? Yikes. I know.
They healthy scratched him, and then Keith Yandel went out and was like, could you healthy scratch a coach? Calling out Torts.
Jesus.
And Kevin Hayes was like, I disagree with being scratched. And
I'm sure he does.
There's a clear disconnect between those two.
Yeah, and I think it's the same with him and Tony, right? Like those two were button heads because we kind of figured they would butt heads, but at the same time,
Tony D'Angelo and John Tortorella
butting heads. I know it's a shock, right?
Did not see that one coming.
It's such a surprise. But the big one I want to get to is our buddy, our bestie.
A funny tweet from this guy I follow, Evil Gritty. Do you follow him?
I don't follow Evil Gritty. No, I should, because that handle is so good.
It was a tweet. It's like the Flyers a week ago. Yeah, Cam's close. You know, he's been skating. He's been practicing.
Oh, you sent me this. Yeah,
you should be good to go. Flyers today. He's dead.
So y'all know we love Cam Atkinson. He was with us for such a long time. He was in the Voracek trade to get Jake back.
Yeah.
Very equal trade at the time.
It's a very equal trade right now, too.
In weird ways, right?
In a very strange parallel way where Voracek might not ever play. He's not going to play the rest of the season. Might not ever play again. And Cam's going to miss the rest of the season. We'll see if he plays again.
Well, so the funny parallel to me is that they're literally just a couple of months apart.
Yeah.
They're exactly the same age. So as a vet swap, it was weirdly identical.
Yeah. It's a wild trade.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And we love Cam Atkinson. He still does stuff with, our community and the Philly community. He still lives here. He's going to retire here. He's one of those guys for us, right? he still has his like clothing line with Matt and 614. It's just that it's orange and it's 89 now.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's super cool. Like all the stuff that Matt's done with current and former players for Columbus, whether that's Rosie, whether that's Nikki, and the Nick Foligno collection is such a good collection.
Yeah.
Whether it's Cam, I think Cam is still my favorite one. I'm wearing my Kepi hat today. But yeah, so Cam had been out since the start of the year, right? He didn't start this year. With I want to say it was a neck injury, right?
Yes.
Which
yeah, neck injuries are not fun. Those are
no joke. No joke. And the Flyers are one of those franchises where since they brought on John Tortorella, you know what John's going to bring you in terms of just like updating as far as he knows. He'll give you jack shit. If like he'll provide for you if he wants to, and he almost never wants to.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just the way Torts operates. We've known that for years. And then Chuck Fletcher, how do I put this kindly? I'm trying to so hard. But here.
I want to say something real quick about Chuck Fletcher, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people give him flack about making bad hockey trades for players who aren't very good. Signing bad contracts like the Rasmus Ristolainen contract, like the Poirier contract, stuff like that.
Didn't he do Parisi and Suter?
He did. I want to give him credit for one thing. I've never seen a general manager as good as he is at trading for players who, within a year, mysteriously might never play hockey again.
Both Cam and Ryan Ellis.
Generational at that. Trades for Ryan Ellis.
Two for the same team.
Ryan Ellis might not ever play again. Probably won't. Cam Atkinson might not play again, apparently.
Maybe not, and who knows? And
extends Sean Couturier, signed until 2030. He might not ever play again.
Oh.
What the hell is going on in Philadelphia?
And specifically with guys like Cam and Coots?
I'll say this.
It's like
we talk about the injuries right now. We just went on a whole rant about that.
Uh-huh.
Our training staff has nothing on the Philadelphia.
On the Philly staff? Right. I want to ask our buddy Kevin List about that and see what he thinks, right?
Wild. It's like Minnesota wild. Where he came from.
You son of a bitch. And so just one more quick player thing, the Sedzi cat thing. I want to talk about Sedlak for just a brief second. He's no longer with the team. He's going home to the Czech Republic. I didn't get the chance to watch his availability. I know that Torts came out in his and said, like, we're going to miss him. He was a good soldier for us and all. He said the right things.
It's sort of from some of the quotes that I saw, like almost a little emotional for him because you could tell that he cares about the player. He spent time with him in Columbus. He said that he's a really good person, and all that stuff. So I don't know what's going on. Like I have no idea. I haven't even bothered to really look into it much. I don't know.
Personally, I just think Sedlak wanted to go home. Because because what happened was, he comes back to North America. He signed with Colorado.
Yeah, he didn't sign with the Flyers.
And then Colorado puts him on waivers, and the Flyers claim him through waivers.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have even been in Philly to begin with, really.
Yeah. Is it that he wanted to go home, or is it that he just didn't want to be in Philadelphia anymore?
Could have saw the writing on the wall with that.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, the same thing if you're in Columbus right now. If you're like a player who gets picked off waivers by the Blue Jackets like that, I would not blame it. Like I remember last year, like if Gregory Hoffman did what he did last year, this year, I would have totally understood. Like if yesterday Gregory Hoffman's like, yeah, I'm going back, I'd be like, yeah, you do you, bro. I feel you.
No, yeah. Like we had that with Greg to a point last year, right?
Yeah.
It was just like, I think, didn't he get hurt?
Beginning of the year. Texier.
And Texier too. Well, his,
like,
his was more like I want to say both are probably personal reasons.
Yeah.
Because we know what Texier's, for the most part, is personal reasons.
Yes.
And we don't know what Sedlak's is.
I'm interested
to at least find out a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, yeah.
Do you think they butted heads?
No. What I was gonna say is I'm interested just like internally what things would look right now if Texier didn't go home.
If he
and I'm glad that he went home because it sounded like he needed it.
He needs to take care of himself. We know this.
100%. But I don't think it's wrong as a fan to say, man, I wonder what things would look like if this player were here. You know?
No, and yeah, I think.
I mean, in the least selfish way possible.
Yes, and I'm trying to just think of that now, like where we are in the season now.
Yeah.
Right? Is like, do you put him on 2? Do you put him on 3? Right? Do you do like a, do you do like a
I don't know. I'm telling you right now.
You
like tonight, if he were available to us tonight, he'd be playing with Kent Johnson and Kirill Marchenko.
I was gonna say, do you make that the kid line, right?
Yeah.
And just put Tex in the middle?
Yeah.
Because that's another. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is like you could put either him or KJ in the middle.
I think between the two of them, I think they're both probably wingers long term, but I think Kent Johnson is more favorable at center than Texier is. But you have flexibility there, so.
I know, and that's one thing. So first of all, I'm going to wrap this. I know we're going to go on another tangent before our next topic, but I want to wrap and say, I hope Cam's going to be okay.
Yeah, hope Cam's okay.
I hope he's going to play next year. Gosh.
Hope Sedlak's okay. And update, hope Texier is okay.
Oh, yeah. And so let me just rant about this for a second. Are we drafting centers or fucking what?
Marchenko.
Hey, nice. On episode 86. How about that?
Oh, I like it.
You like that?
No, Jake, that's a great question, isn't it?
Are we drafting centers or what?
Because
we picked Kent Johnson 5th overall, and we picked him as a center, correct?
Yes.
He played a lot of wing in Michigan, sure, but we picked him as a center.
Yes.
Is he going to be a center?
That's a good question. You drafted Cole Sillinger as a center, and he's primarily played center, but we know he's not a number one center.
Yes.
Project as a number one center, and that's kind of badly what you need right now.
Alex Texier, same thing. Is he going to be a center? I think he's going to be more of a winger.
He's going to be a winger.
Jack Roslovic, we know he can do both, but come on. Make up your freaking minds, guys.
Let me tell you right now, and this is just my opinion, he is a center with the Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
If you traded him today
to a contender, he's
immediately put on the wing.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
And that's one thing that I think is kind of...
Your two true centers on the team are Cole and Corrali.
Yeah.
Because
there's the notification for me from Kirill. Cool.
Boone has played center this year, and he played center last year.
Boone's played both, but
and he's been good at center, but he was originally a winger.
Primarily a winger when you brought him up, yeah.
Yeah. So like you're two true centers on this team
that have never really shifted.
Yes, are Cole Sillinger and Sean Corrali. One is a fourth line guy who's good at it.
Yeah,
he's a fourth line guy, and the other
can play third if he needs to.
Is a number 3 center who projects maybe long term as a number 2 center, but right now is a 3 center who's playing 2 or 1 some nights because you just don't have any damn centers.
Liam Foodie, is he going to be a center or a winger? How many guys are we going to draft as a center and never play them at center?
Forget about Is he a center?
Is he even on this team?
Is he a National Hockey League player?
We never got an answer.
Forget about center. Is he going to make any impact on this team? And if the answer is no, and you consistently have him sitting in
KJ, baby.
box,
I'm sorry. I just yep.
But
KJ boy.
I don't understand what you gain keeping him in the press box most nights. And if you don't gain much playing him on the ice, why is he even here?
If you're gonna healthy scratch
him, the guy who projects to, he was never gonna be a number one center. Honestly, he probably was never gonna be a number two center either. He just projected to be long term when he was first drafted to be a really good 3C, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you really gonna be burned that bad if you make a deal and he ends up being that?
No, because that's what he's supposed to be.
So why not
do right by a guy for once?
Yeah. And either trade him to a team who could use him, like in Arizona, Chicago, or trade him to a contender who can stash him in the minors and try and develop him. They don't even have to be a contender. They could be a middle of the road team that can stash him.
Pinto Foodie sounds kind of fun to me. I know they don't really need it, but it's like
what I was thinking is you want to talk about a team that doesn't really have much of a prospect pipeline right now because
Boston
they're kind of brand new to the league.
Oh,
Boston's
Seattle.
Interesting, but Seattle.
Yeah, you're right.
I just and look, this isn't like a frustration with Liam Foodie necessarily.
No, it's a frustration with deployment and guys. It's like
he is what he is. He had a tough road because he gets drafted to this team, I think 18th, 19th overall, and immediately he has to make the jump to the NHL on an emergency call and then plays for that team in the playoffs, and then has to deal with COVID as he's trying to develop. He's playing in the minors, but
right,
limited games because of COVID, and he got called up at certain point. Like his development's been kind of messed up,
extremely wonky.
So
put my phone.
It's not necessarily a frustration with the player, but it's a frustration with the organization that they don't know what the hell to do with them. I'm like, right? Who's playing in the lineup tonight at number 4 center? Josh Dunn.
Yeah.
Does Josh Dunn project long term as a solution to the Columbus Blue Jackets?
No.
So why isn't he your press box guy?
Right.
Why is Foodie just cooking in the minors right now?
And they signed a guy to an entry-level deal recently.
Justin Richards, who's producing well at the American Hockey League level. He's 24 years old. He was undrafted. So I don't know.
It's just such a mess of like who is gonna seriously, are we gonna solidify anything?
Who are your locks for center heading into next season?
Yes.
Like the center position.
Corrali, we know for sure.
I'd say Corrali. Sillinger.
Yep.
Is that it?
Maybe Boone.
Maybe Boone. I would accept him as an answer. But here's the thing, Jake. If you don't bring back Brad Larson, there's always the possibility that a new coach comes in
and changes things up. Yeah.
I'd rather have you on the wing. So, and that's the reason that I don't include him in it. Your 2 guaranteed centers hitting into next year are Sillinger and Corrali. And that's it.
That's just center is the most difficult position to handle.
playoff teams always know who their centers are.
Right? Yes.
Like heading in, like you can move guys around, but let me ask you a question, Jake. Heading into next season, who's a lock to play center for the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Braden Point, Nick Paul, probably, right?
Yeah. There's a big one you're missing.
Anthony Cirelli, Steven Stamkos.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because Stamkos has played so much wing recently, too.
No. Who's a lock to play center next year for the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Jeff Carter, and probably Teddy Blue.
Okay. Right. Okay. All right. You get the gist here. These teams know who their guys are.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Oh, the team we just faced, Dallas.
Yep.
Rope Hintz.
Yep.
Tyler Seguin.
Very solid number 2. Yep.
Ida Landria.
Ida Landria is a pretty solid young number 3.
So,
it's just like
these teams, they just know. Okay. Flames.
The Flames, Lindholm, Kadri, Backlund, and Coleman or Lewis.
Yeah.
Or Rooney, for all that we care. Seriously, the fourth line isn't as, up in the air. Your top 3 needs to, you need to know who those guys are. And who the hell knows what Columbus is going to do? Because I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to put this on Yarmo.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm going to put that on Yarmo, because are you drafting guys to play the position you're drafting them at, or what?
Yeah. Who was the last center you drafted? Who you intended to play at center, who panned out for the team?
Who panned out for the team? I don't know as much about that, but I can tell you the last one that you drafted as a center that mainly played center. Dubois. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, before that, it was Wenberg. Probably. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah. And even then, that ended. Not the best way possible, but yeah, for me, the guy you drafted, it was controversial because he played both center and wing. Dubois did, and said, we're drafting this guy and he's going to be a center, and then he was a center and he was very good for you,
and then they shifted him over, and it's what are you doing now? Draft guys with a purpose. Yep. And stick to that purpose. That's literally the point of this conversation.
That's the thing, Jake. I know we have a lot to be excited about for the future in terms of these prospects, but I want to go over them with you real quick, okay?
Yes.
So the 2 big ones, or the big 3 really, are Yurchek, Matachuk.
Yep.
Pullmans.
Yes.
All defensemen. That's awesome.
And we know how they shoot.
Who is the biggest forward, most exciting forward?
Most exciting? Well, would you call Marchenko still a prospect?
No, I mean guys who are
very, very
prospects, either overseas, in college, or in juniors. So Marchenko, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, not
right, because he's made the show, and yeah.
So, to me, it's Dume, right?
Probably Dume. That's the closest. That's the big one that I'm. Yeah,
a winger.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Monsters projected lineup for tonight.
Yeah,
and the big name in terms of that kind of forward prospect that's jumping out to me.
Yeah.
Tyler Angle.
7th round pick.
He's the 2nd line center on the Monsters tonight.
What does he project long term in the NHL? If he hits his stride, Jake, that's if he, he is. He's if Tyler Ennis was a 3rd line center. That is what he at his ceiling is.
And you talked about Voronkov being like a third line Boone Jenner.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to blame anybody for being excited about Voronkov. I think he'll fit in with the
No, yeah, he's going to look
Blue
great.
Jacket mentality, but he doesn't project as a top 6 center.
Cole is our biggest shot right now.
He is. And he's not a number 1. He's probably never going to be a number 1. Your hope is that he's a number 2.
Yeah, and I mean, KJ is going to take some time. And again, choose that with a decision in mind. Is he a center or a wing? Right?
Yeah.
You pick the guy 5th overall.
Yeah.
You better have a plan for what he's going to play long term.
And I really like the pick, and I like the player, but you have to have an identity with it.
Yes.
And they don't.
Who's the last player that you can think of that's played all 3 forward positions?
All 3?
Yeah.
For this team or just in general?
Just in general. Who's the first guy that comes to mind that's played at left, center, and right?
Just like if you asked me like total Swiss Army that could play any of those positions, for some reason the name that sticks out to me is Blake Coleman. Because he did that in Tampa.
Yeah, and Blake Coleman is a very, very good player.
Valuable player.
Valuable player.
And I like him in Calgary. Question for you, Jake. Is he their number 1 center?
No.
No. You want to know why? Because first of all, he's not that talented. And 2, they have Elias
Lindholm and Nazem Kadri.
I could make an argument. That's a team that's got 2 number 1 centers.
Yeah. Nas on any given contending or like any given rebuilding team, right? 1. You give Nas to us. You give Nas to like Ottawa, Buffalo, you know, someone like that.
Maybe not Buffalo anymore.
Well, maybe not Buffalo anymore with Tage. Maybe not Detroit anymore with Dylan.
It would be an interesting conversation.
You know what I mean?
Arizona, because I really like Nick Schmaltz, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I like him, but is he a number 1 center?
Schmaltzy's like a 2. I think Schmaltzy's a 2 long term.
Yeah. So like, it's interesting because that's who we originally went after.
Was Nazem Kadri, yes.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sad about.
Well, no, why would we be sad about Johnny Gaudreau
rather than Kadri, but again,
in terms of need and in terms of drafting guys, and
center.
like
you need a center, and that's why I don't care. Whatever pick you have.
I know we've spent so much time on this, but this is important, right?
Like I don't care if there's a great defenseman available, a top tier goaltender available.
You've already worked on the defense so much.
I don't care if you've got Matvei Michkov staring you right in the freaking eyes with a guarantee that he's going to come over. You need a damn center.
You need a center that you know is going to be a bona fide 1-2.
And we're not talking Bedard here because realistically, he's a Blackhawk. Right?
At this point.
Could you get a Fantilli? Could you get a Leo Carlson?
Could you get a Jaeger?
Could you get any of these guys? I don't care. You know what scene I'm thinking of right now is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Where he's at the desk and he's like listing off all the cars that he could get. That's how I feel. I want a Carlson, a Fantilli, a fucking Jaeger.
That just makes me think of like I got back into Game Grumps recently for whatever hell reason. Like I'm starting to watch a lot of their old stuff again, and they played Dead or Alive Extreme 2, right? And Aaron gets rejected by Helena again, And he goes on this tirade and he's like, come on, I bought you a lace parasol, a tea set. And it just goes on and on. That's how this feels with just trying to get a top 6 center for this team. A bona fide top 6 guy.
Yes.
We've spent so much time on this. We got to move on to the last 2 things. But that's really, I feel like that was a huge tangent, but that was really important for us to just get out there. Yeah.
It's a very, very important conversation.
Ugh. That just like came out like a chest burster from Alien, did it not?
Yeah.
That whole rant just came out like, wow. All right.
Start by giving me a fucking automobile, a fucking Datsun, a fucking Mustang, a fucking Buick, 4 fucking wheels and a seat. That's how I feel about getting a center on this team.
Oh man.
Oh, one of my, to end this, one of the best movies of all time. Planes, Trains, Automobiles. Unbelievable movie.
I don't know why I keep maybe it's because I watched a clip from Airplane recently and that's why I'm getting confused.
Airplane, man.
I watched the excuse me ma'am, I speak jive.
That movie. I showed it to my girlfriend when she came, because it's my mom's favorite movie.
Oh.
So she had never seen it before. That movie is just incredible. To end that. I think that's
okay. Yeah. Okay. A trade that went down. Kyle Dubas doing right by one of his guys. Denis Malgin traded to the Colorado Avalanche for Dryden Hunt.
The Mason Marchment tree stays alive.
The thing about Malgin
is he does one thing well. And he doesn't do it.
They try, like, it was such a weird experiment when they first got him from Florida. Right?
It was the experiment that had no business continuing.
And it was just because their biggest thing over the last couple of years has been trying to find a left winger for John Tavares, right? Because you can go with Willie and Mitch on the right interchangeably.
Yeah. But
that left spot is so barren next to JT.
Yeah, and I think that's one of his biggest failings is he hasn't gotten John Tavares a left winger.
Malgin's tried.
Mason Marchment would have been a pretty good winger to put next.
He probably could. Malgin tried.
Like, let's be real. He brought him back. Dubas brought Malgin back because Marchment left Florida for Dallas, and he got killed by the media for that trade. And he wanted the guy to work out.
Yeah.
He brought him back because he desperately wanted to have a little bit of vindication. And fortunately for him with this deal, he actually might be able to, because even though Dryden Hunt's not he's not going to play with Tavares, he's not a standout guy, but if he could be a physical presence to your fourth line, which has been a missing part of their identity for the last several years that they've been struggling to get out of the first round. If he could be an impact guy on the wing on the fourth line, then that gives a little bit of credibility to what was once a very, very broken deal.
Well, that's the thing with general managers in general, is you never don't want deals to work out. Right? You never make a trade and say like, "Oh, I hope this fails."
Yeah.
Right?
You might have the best of intentions and the best of reasons to make a move, but if it doesn't work out, you're going to get killed, especially in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Did it make sense at the time to trade Mason Marchment for Denis Malgin? Absolutely it did.
Yeah.
An undrafted kid who played in the ECHL for a little bit for a former second-round pick.
And in no way in hell was making that current lineup.
At that point in time, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's kind of funny how it worked out, but like, you know, as much as people want to like rag on him for it, like, nope. Like I remember when that trade first happened,
and Dennis is still a kid. Like,
yeah, and the reason I remember that deal when it first happened because I follow an account on Instagram that like it popped up on my feed one day, and I remember at that point in time, Malgin was actually like a relatively interesting prospect for the Panthers,
right?
And I was like, I don't even know who Mason Marchman is.
Right.
So
I knew more about Marchman just because
right?
I was getting into, you know, Steve's stuff at the time, so I knew a little bit more about Marchman.
Right. So
at the time,
you know, we can kill Dubes all we want for that deal, but he wanted to make things work out with Malkin. It was never working out because they put him on Tavares' line, and the second play got to Malgin, it just died on his stick.
Yeah,
he was completely ineffective for them. So he'll be a depth piece for the Avs, and the Leafs get someone who can hopefully match the physical presence of an Aston Reese on the fourth line. Minor deal, but a deal that might actually come up bigger than you think.
Like it's like you think of the names involved in the trade, and it's like,
You're like that's but no, like, it could be a very important deal. Like, you know, this is the kind of player that Toronto needs. And
yes,
you know, it didn't work out with Obey Cabell, but maybe it does with Dryden Hunt.
Maybe it does. Because you know in Toronto's bottom six, there's the possibility of Kerfoot leaving, and that's probably
they really should just trade him.
When is that? Just pull the trigger with that.
Just
right?
Like forget about the fact that he's leaving. Just he's not doing anything for you. You need an adjustment.
Yeah. Calle Yarncroke, David Kampf, Pierre Engvall. They called up Joey Anderson.
Yeah. And like Yarncroke, they signed to a 4-year deal. He's going to be there for a little bit. David Kampf is expiring, but he's a very effective player for them. I know
he's a great player for him.
Pierre Engvall does nothing. Joey Anderson, we'll see. I mean,
yeah,
but
I think they brought up SDA at some point too, and he looked all right.
Yeah, and SDA is interesting, but SDA kind of almost has the Malgin feel to it, where he's a talented hockey player and he's a smaller guy. Is that what they need?
And Nick, oh my God, Nick.
Yeah.
What's going on with Nick
Robertson? So many parallels between Liam Foudy and Nick Robertson, just in the sense that they're young guys who were in that bubble.
Yeah.
And they really shouldn't have been because of how young they were, but they were in the bubble. They both scored goals in the bubble. And
they both played great in the AHL when they could. Yeah.
The opportunity to really develop.
I just wow.
That they need to do right by Nick Robertson and make a deal. And like I know people look at him and they're like, oh, he's a young prospect. Like trade him for another prospect.
Yeah, if you think it's that point in his development, do that.
Trade him for a guy who's maybe recently drafted, who's like a 3rd-round pick or something like that. Like find a deal that can make sense for you and give this player an opportunity elsewhere, because it's just they're not doing him any favors, and they're not doing themselves any favors either.
No, but I mean, yeah, this is like the players involved in this deal were minor-ish to a point, but it's a big move to make for both teams, I think.
Wow, this game got out of hand.
Oh yeah, it did.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a carnival. And the other quick thing in regards to that, in terms of just like movements and deals and things made, Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, good for him. 3-year deal, 2.6 average annual value. I think that's a very good deal. He's shown to be a very good NHL goaltender so far. Not a super large sample size, but the stats are good. The underlying numbers are good. He matches the eye test.
Good young dude around our age.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how this will affect Jack Campbell moving forward.
Yeah, because Jack's locked up to that 5x5. And Stewart's played like the Oilers are in a really weird situation.
Yeah.
Because of like they had a Western Conference final hangover, and it's still just Connor and Leon doing everything. And they have like so many teams are so injury riddled right now that it's like it feels like half of the National Hockey League is made out of AHL players right now.
You know what's funny? The team who has had the least injury issues seemingly so far this season has been the one that came into this season with the most, and that's the Boston Bruins. I was like, going like I imagine picking that team to not make the playoffs.
I know.
God.
Oh man. But yeah, that's a
fun thing to get to, I think.
That was a great deal for Skinner, and yeah, I'm interested to see how that works out between him and Jack as a tandem.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like Stewart's kind of hopped.
He's their number one guy.
He's their number one guy right now. Yeah. So it's like, huh. And speaking of goalies, to wrap this up, old alma mater flame of mine announced his retirement the other day.
So I have a comparison to make. Just give me a second on this one, okay? Because I think it ties in well, okay? I read a really, really good piece when Alabama lost to Tennessee for the first time in like 15 years earlier this year. And it talked about like how in sports, I think we sometimes focus so much on championships, you kind of lose sight of the bigger picture, right?
Which is the people behind the helmets or which is the athletes.
Like what I find interesting was the piece was about like Tennessee finally beats Alabama, and you see like the stadium go nuts and people are rushing the field. That's when they carried the goalposts out of the stadium. And it was so cool. And what sports is really about is moments.
Yes.
And comparing this now to Andrew Hammond is, not a Hall of Fame guy. He was never a number one goalie. He was hardly ever a number two, really.
He was
mainly an American Hockey League guy in his career.
Yes, he was mainly a 3-4 guy stuck in the American Hockey League, which, not to say stuck,
but it's just who he was.
Yeah.
But in 2013,
he played for my guys at Bowling Green for a good little while. Let's just get that out. He's a Falcon alum.
But it was 2013 or 2014, right? He gave hockey just one of the best moments,
the wildest stories.
Because that stretch, I'll never forget it. Because people are not going to forget it.
No,
and
there's a reason why his nickname is the Hamburglar.
And people are throwing hamburgers on the ice and shit. Like, if you're not a hockey fan, or if you're a hockey fan who becomes a fan later on and you didn't get to experience it, you'll never understand why we cared so much about a guy this undrafted goalie who, I don't even think he started over 100 games in his career.
At that point, I don't think so.
No, he hardly had any starts. I want to check real quick to see like what his official stats are real quick, but
yeah,
you won't know how unbelievable it was to experience that moment because they lost in the first round.
Right.
And he wasn't very good in the playoffs, and yet he's still an absolute fan favorite because it was just one of the coolest stories in sports.
It's so good.
That was nowhere close to the playoffs. Yeah. And they have these injuries, and they bring up this third string guy, this undrafted guy, who I am correct, only started, now that he is retired, 67 games in his career.
Wow. He didn't even, in his whole career, he didn't even start 100 games.
Yes. And this guy in 2014-15 comes up and in 24 games played, 23 starts, goes 21-2.
Okay.
With a 941 and a 179 with
Holy
3
crap.
shutouts and takes them to the playoffs.
So I'm going to read his statement because I want to, I want you to look up his college stats because, again, he's on a level of my guys and he's apparently a legend in BG.
Yeah.
So if you want to look up his college stats, I'm going to read his statement. St. Patrick's Day 2013. I signed an NHL contract with the Ottawa Senators. One dream came true. I was an undrafted free agent signing out of college. I thought things couldn't get better than that. I was wrong. My career was a series of unbelievable and unexpected memories. I met some of the best people I know, and I can honestly say that I had the best job in the world. I love that he put job in quotes. That's hilarious. As life throws more unexpected things my way, I am retiring from hockey. Unfortunately, during my time with Montreal, I hurt my ankle and I won't be able to make a full recovery. Oh, God. I'm excited for more time stopping pucks at home with Cal, Carson, and Harlow. Oh, mentioning his kids. Oh, that's so cute. I would like to thank my wife first and foremost. We've had probably 20 addresses we've called home throughout my career. Jeez. She's been there for all of it, good games, bad games, and everything in between. I would also like to thank my parents for making the sacrifices along the way that allowed me to live out my dream. So he gave his kudos to all his family and his.
And this is what I find it. Like, this is like, I'm going to read you his college stats. And
I do love that he signed it with a hamburger emoji too. That's so good.
When I read you his college stats, it makes the story even better.
Yeah.
First season in college, 0-12-2 with an 880.
Oh, God.
Second year, he had a 915.
There you go.
But he was 6-17-3. These were some of the dark ages for Bowling Green hockey.
Right.
Third
they
year,
started, yeah.
14, 24, and 5 with a 903. And then his last year, 10, 15, and 3 with a 917. This wasn't a guy who like dominated in college, but like he's not like a Hunter Shepard who had a really good college career, or a Dryden McKay who had a really good college career, but they don't project long term as NHL goalies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he really just came out of nowhere. Like, that's what his story is so unbelievable, because there was nothing in his track record that would have ever indicated that he would have the capability of doing what he did.
Well, because the Ottawa run put him on the map, right?
Yes.
And then after that, I'm just trying to think of where he went next, because I remember he was in the Minnesota system for a while.
So he signed an extension with Ottawa, and then it became apparent that he wasn't an NHL goalie. So after that, he went to Colorado.
Yes, I remember he had some.
This is funny because he was a part of the Duchesne trade.
Oh, that's right.
And then he started a game for the Avalanche. He started a couple games in the playoffs for the Avalanche after they had some goalie injuries, and he won him a playoff game against Nashville.
Yeah, Andrew, that's right, baby. There we go.
So he had a year with Montreal. That was last year, I think. Yeah, he was combined last year.
That was, yes.
Last
I read that in the statement.
Last year was between Montreal and the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, that's right. They did sign him for a bit.
He was in the Wild.
Devils, yeah.
He was with the Iowa Wild,
for
but
a good
I don't
little
think
while.
He was ever actually a part of the Wild organization. I thought it was just a loan. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was just loaned to the Iowa Wild rather than.
You mean like Binnington getting loaned to Providence?
Yes. Yeah. I might be wrong about that. If anybody knows for a fact that I am, let us know. But for some reason, I'm pretty sure he was loaned.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but I do remember his time in Iowa.
I'll say this. 6 years in the NHL, 67 games played, 59 starts, 31-27 with a 916 and 256 goals against average.
Yeah.
Very, very strange, but very, very fun career.
That's a fun and respectable record.
That's
a really respectable record for only playing that amount of games.
And this is a guy who, since what, the 15-16 season has probably played 35, 40 games.
Maybe.
His record wasn't very good in those amount of games, and his save percentage wasn't very good, but it goes back to what I said earlier. moments. He's a part of. He is the main character in one of the most fun moments this sport has experienced, probably in the last decade.
Isn't it funny how so many of these like moments that we talk about in this league revolve around goalies?
Yeah, it really is.
Andrew Hammond, Scott Foster, David Ayers.
Before we found out that he was kind of an asshole, Jordan Binnington.
Binnington's
when
the
Blues first won the cup, he was a very fun story.
Yeah.
People have soured on that story, but at the time, he was a very fun story.
Anton Forsberg finally finding a home in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
That was another big moment. Because remember, he got bounced around a lot.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
In
the Blue Jackets, he was with Chicago. I think he was on waivers 3 times before he ended up in Ottawa.
3 or 4 times. This guy just kept getting claimed.
Now he's their starting goalie. It's a fun story. 100%. I agree with you there.
It's just funny how so many of these moments revolve around goaltenders, right?
Yeah, and it's like I said, like, because goaltending is like your main character, right?
Kind of, yeah.
It's your main character position.
It's funny because we talk about like center being the most important in terms of like at least skaters.
Real quick, Anton Hudobin taking the Stars to the final.
Hudobin,
Hudobin was a very, very fun moment and big story. That picture of him shirtless eating the crawfish.
His run was huge. Yeah,
with the beer in his hand. One of my favorite photos of all time.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Roberto Luongo always made himself a main character. In more ways than one.
Now, he was just a Hall of Fame goalie, but he's the definition of like main character. Because goalies are weird. Goalies are weird.
Dude, Pekka Rinne's goal.
Yeah.
Just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
It was such a great moment.
Ilya Bryzgalov.
Briz,
he was bad. He was main character.
Briz was absolute main character material. Can I shout this out really quick to wrap the show?
Humongous big.
Humongous big. The whole universe. It's on the game. Why you have to be mad? Let me shout this out.
Sitting on the side with my thermos.
With my thermos. Oh, wait. Samsonov. I just like to go home, have some smile, and Russian goalies are just...
Russian goalies especially the Dryden personalities. Something so wholesome.
I know. So let me shout this out really quick to wrap this. On the SDPN Discord, there was a guy that wanted to play this little game, right? And he wanted to make like a thread for it, so I made it for him. It's called Guess the Player. And all you have to do, and this is just because you brought up Briz. All you have to do is like you have to post a few emotes of the teams that a certain player played for. And then people try to guess the player, and when you get it right, you switch to the next guy, right? You come up with one, you do it yourself. And I brought up Briz.
Yeah.
And the thing that tipped people off, and there was one guy that didn't know this, was that he both started and ended in Anaheim.
Briz?
Yeah.
I knew he started. I don't remember a second stint for him in Anaheim.
Finished like partial season. He finished.
Wow.
In 14.
I thought his last gig was with Minnesota.
No, I looked it up, and I can try to find this very, very quickly because I know
because I do remember
we're shooting the shit at this point, right?
I do remember he started with Anaheim.
Okay, ready? Anaheim, Arizona, Philly, Edmonton, Minnesota, and then briefly finished in Anaheim.
Yeah, 6 starts with the Ducks. Wow, that's kind of fun. I did not know that. Put that in your hockey trivia, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good one. Look
it's
at
really
you.
Fun.
I like that one.
Actually, I had to look it up because I was just thinking about Briz, and I was like, I wonder if anybody's gonna get this. Yeah. But yeah, so huge props to the Hamburglar. When I first found out he was a BG product, that just automatically made me cheer for the guy, right?
Yeah.
It was just like the run alone, and then I found out he was a BG guy, and I was like, okay, I'm 200% behind this guy.
Yeah. I remember when it first happened because my one cousin was going to Bowling Green at the time, and I was like, hey, former BG guy is kind of dominating right now. And it's just, one last time, tying it all in. Don't lose sight in sports about moments. Yeah. Championships are fun. Those are great moments. And it's the ultimate moment. And you always want your team to capture titles because you never forget them. But it doesn't make the other moments like this with Andrew Hammond not important. It's why we love sports.
It's absolutely why we love sports.
And wishing him the best in his retirement. I want to thank him for one of the more fun moments in the league.
Have fun with the kids.
Yep. And who knows? Maybe his future remains in hockey, and whether that's as a scout or a goalie coach or anything like that.
Goalie coach from Hammy would be fun.
Or if it's not with hockey at all and it's something else, whatever it is, best of luck.
He did go to school. I don't know what he went to school for, but
who knows?
Yeah. And so just to say goodbye, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Everybody have a happy holidays.
Yep.
We'll come back Saturday with some very, just enjoy the holiday.
Tuesday.
Yeah. And Tuesday, we'll be back with a long, long dialogue.
Yeah.
So everybody, Merry Christmas.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.